From the central Arava region along the Jordanian border, we have superstar Noah Zur and Nadav Ilan. It's all yours.
Hi everybody. I think for the first time in the history of Central Arava, the fact that we are the most isolated regional council in Israel has proven to our advantage, because right now we have sealed down all the communities, and we kid around that even the corona does not bother to come here, and hopefully this will remain so. The desert people have always chosen to be optimistic. I have to tell you that what we see right now is a local sense of great pride, because the fact is that the farmers of the Arava from the desert are now supplying a food security network to all the people in Israel. Actually, the markets in Israel right now are flooded with vegetables grown in the Arava and also in other places in Israel. And we take a lot of pride that there is no shortage in the market and that we keep the security, the food security of Israel. We've always said that keeping Israel is keeping the borders and keeping the food. And we are very proud to serve our people in this difficult time. I have to tell you that in the last 10 years, JNF has invested so much in Central Arava, building a medical center, an emergency response center, infrastructures for water, and we see all those investments coming to life in this very hard time and during this crisis, and the fact that all of these great projects are enabling us to function, even though we are sealed and isolated from all the different parts of Israel. We also see a great sense of social solidarity amongst the community here. People are helping people. I think the sad aspect in the daily life is that we have a lot of families that the elderly parents, the pioneers who have formed the Arava, are living next door to the younger generation, and right now we cannot see each other. So we take the grandchildren to wave to the grandparents from the outside window. And that's a very weird situation to explain to your 2.5-year-old daughter why she can't go see grandma, where she used to see her place like a second home. So when you live in such a dense community, that's becoming very difficult. But again, we choose to look on the optimistic side. And right now we see a lot of interest from families in Israel who understand that social solidarity is a valuable resource. And we've always had social solidarity here in the Arava, because in the desert, that's what keeps you alive. That's our survival mechanism. And the only good thing that I see out of the corona is people acknowledging the power of social solidarity and the power of a community, and people are looking for that. And I'll hand it over to Nadav, who is the general manager of Chatzeva, one of the largest JNF Housing Fund expansion projects with more than 120 lots, to say a few words. As a father of 3 kids, it's not easy. Nadav, you want to say something? So I'll continue instead of Nadav.
Yes, I'm on. No.
Okay.
I'm on. It's okay. All right. So yes, as of tomorrow morning, I'm actually going to be the CEO of Chatzeva. After some of you know me as the Chief Security Officer of the Arava, and it really, I will emphasize on what Noah just said. Look, we keep building our communities with restrictions, and we keep marketing them. Since one of the advantages of Israel is, and of the region, as Noah said, we have so many, it's called viable factories. So for example, the food infrastructure and basically agriculture, we're feeding Israel, but also building. So the government of Israel allows building companies to keep on and building our homes. So we are actually having, several houses here in Chatzeva, about 100 meters by the restrictions, like right away across the street are we're building them, and we see, you know, the marketing does not stop. People really understand that, you know, going to the Arava and maybe this crisis shows, as Noah said, what the isolation is doing, maybe the geographical isolation, but also this whole solidarity. Our communities, like a flick of a button, you know, over a second, we realize this is a crisis that we all as a community need to come together, and the entire community of the Arava shut down their gates because we don't want to get, you know, coronavirus in. Inside the communities, we are, just like Noah said, Faran, Chatzeva are about, you know, 50 minutes away from each other, but we are experiencing the same thing. Both me and my wife are both working. She's working in a food factory and I'm working, you know, in the council. So we both have to be at work, and with 3 kids, and my parents and her parents are far away up north. But still, we see our friends, we see, you know, our neighbors. Maybe we're not touching each other like Israelis are used to. And by the way, maybe for the American group here, it's different, but for Israelis, we need the touch. You know, we're warm people. Not that I'm saying that Americans, of course, are not, but for an Israeli not to be able to hug his friend, his best friend, or to give a kiss to his neighbor, it's hard. It's really hard for us, and we are getting used to the new reality. But as a community, we really feel that our neighbors and friends are hugging us virtually, either using Zoom or just, you know, going outside. You know, my kids' friends are standing, you know, outside in the street waving, you know, we miss you, but they can't really touch each other. So we really see that marketing is growing. Yes, Noah?
I just want to add one last thing because our time is up, and I just want to thank, on behalf of all of us here, I want to thank the JNF Arava medical team who are doing an amazing job in keeping all of us safe and take care of all the community. They have a lot of responsibility in our hands, and we salute the medical teams all over the country and all over the world, but I just wanted to point them out because they're really special in the way they care for our community.